The following show contains views and opinions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Audience discretion is advised.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Thespian Talk. I am your host, Gomer the Ranting Thespian, and my co-hosts this week are Erin Mills, aka DubiousKhan.
Yo.
And the Cat.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, it has been a while. Oh God, it's been pretty much about a month since we've been able to do one of these. Because I personally have been busy. If it's not busy, it's truck stop Wi-Fi screwing with me. Like I'm actually surprised I've been able to get. I've been able to put up some videos over the past month. I'm surprised I've been able to get those up. That's how screwy it's been, and for the $20 a month, what the hell, Flying J and Pilot. And then of course, the first week of this month was my birthday week, and I spent that up in Joliet, outside of Chicago and everything, and I ended up spending time, traveling back, and then we got back, and then, I think things just fell apart there, but oof, it's been a hell of a month, But yeah, so Kat, how has your month been?
I went to Disneyland, so everything is awesome.
How was it? I've never been to Disneyland.
Oh, it was great. I went because I have some friends who actually work at that Disneyland.
Oh, yeah?
So they got me in for free, and then they also had really swank employee discount, which they totally did not use to buy me anything. But no, it was fabulous. I've never been to Disney. I think my parents took me to Disney World when I was 3 or something, so it doesn't count because I don't remember it.
Right.
So for me, this was the first time I'm ever going to Disney, and it's not Disney World, it's Disneyland. So I'm sure it could have been a bigger, flashier experience going to Disney proper, big Disney and Epcot and all that other great stuff. But yeah. We did Disney and California Adventure Park, and it was absolutely fabulous, even though it got to be 100 degrees. Yeah. California warmed up just in time for me to go there and die of heat stroke, which I did not do, but I came pretty close.
I can imagine. I gotta say, it's not that much better in Florida. In terms of heat.
I watched a little Weather Channel video, and the weather guy was like, guys, this is insane. It's so hot this October. Record-breaking heat everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah. Oh God, and even me, this past week, I started up my week up in Chicago area where it was cold enough to where I sometimes needed my leather coat, which was awesome. Then I come back down here, I'm having to get back into shorts. It's like, God damn.
Yeah. But it's the same thing here, where it started the week really cold, highs in the 60s, and then yesterday it was 85 degrees, and we're like, what the fuck?
Oh God, your weather is tied to where I am in the country. Oh no. Oh God.
It's been a weird fall.
It has. Oh. So yeah. So Erin, how's your month been?
It's been fine. We've been undergoing a lot of changes at my job and whatnot. But the big thing for me is I am now officially over the hill. I turned 40 this week.
Ah, yes, and a belated happy birthday. God. I don't remember if I sent one to you, but if I didn't, I did now.
Yep. So, yeah. I am now 40, and yeah.
Hashtag so old. Oh, my God.
Oh, so...
Actually, I think I put on Twitter that hashtag Jesus Christ, I'm 40 now.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna be there in 6 years. Oh.
It's funny because we're all over 30, and that's older than most of the people who troll around on the internet.
Yeah, and older.
This actually got me a few weeks ago because I was talking to a guy at work, and I mentioned that I had a Twitter account. I said I put this on Twitter. He's like, "Wait, what? You have a Twitter?" I said, "Yes, Junior. I have a Twitter. I may be over 30." But I've been around since the internet became public, all right? I think I know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think so far I'm the only one of my immediate family that has Twitter. My parents are just happy with Facebook. Uh, but wow, just we people in our 30s and older. I'm coming into my mid 30s, and Aaron, of course, as he said, he's in his 40s. We know what the fuck we're talking about. We know what we're doing. We're not stupid. You know. I mean, I think even George Carlin was a little bit more tech savvy, and he was like what 70, 71 when he died. So so he was a lot more tech savvy, and I think there are some other older people like a friend of mine. Her dad is also more tech savvy. He's at least on Facebook. I don't know if he's on Twitter or anything, but he's of that same George Carlin cool old guy caliber. Keeping up with technology, and speaking of other cool old guys, Bill Engvall. He's about to turn 60, and he's up all over the social medias. He's got his own podcast. So, yeah, just because you're older doesn't necessarily mean you're a Luddite. Just saying.
My dad is my favorite example because both of my parents were in military intelligence and were working like decoding machines and stuff like that. And so my dad has always used computers and the latest technology in his workplace. So he's really good with computers and he's got multiple tablets and a smartphone and all of this stuff, and he's really good at every piece of technology he comes across except for the television remote. For some reason, he cannot keep the buttons on the TV remote straight, and I have to give him shit for it all the time.
Sounds similar to my dad, although my dad doesn't really. Well, I don't know. We have like multiple TVs here, so I don't know how he keeps his remote, but he's got like tablet. He's got at least one tablet for him, one for my mother. I inherit whatever tablets that they don't use unless I go out and buy my own. I know they both have iPhones. They even have tablets for the kids that come over here, which I know I'm sitting here like bragging, and everybody who's like Poe and everything, which does include myself, because technically I don't pay for anything because I get hand-me-downs, which again, people are like, you privileged motherfucker. You're right. But hopefully one day I hope to be able to not only get my own, but also do likewise for other people who may not be able to get one of their own if they want one. So so that's where I want to aim, monetarily speaking. But speaking of monetarily speaking, got a little bit of housekeeping before we get into topics and news of the week. First off, if you support the show or support me on patreon.com/Gomer21XX. If you support me at the, I want to say it's the 15 a month level, you get little ad spots on all of these little shows that I do. Supposed to be 3 podcasts, but I'm having trouble keeping this one scheduled, which a lot of the times it is out of our hands, unfortunately. Just, with me being on the road, and then sometimes the truck stop, the truck stop Wi-Fi, sometimes it wants to be shit, all of that stuff. But I digress on that one. There's that. Plus, speaking of videos, I put a little bit at the end of every new video that I put out. So you get a lot of, you get the potential for a lot more eyeballs onto you than you maybe just like on the side or just on one video a month or whatever, depending on how many views each video gets. But anyways, I'm rambling. You go there, you give 15, you get all that stuff, and I've got one patron who does that. Her name is Beth Cody. She has a podcast called Invest with Beth over at investwithbeth.com. I've got that website up, plus the direct iTunes link. Go and check her out. She talks about what it's like to get into the whole real estate business, managing money like that, making money doing real estate, which she seems to be doing all right with so far. I've not heard her complain about it. So, and hey, you know what? It helps. She uses some of that money to help support, what I do. So that is awesome. Invest with Beth. Also, I do want to also give the other shout out to circleplus.co, run by Lady Jess and Holly Christine. Site run, with female producers primarily, although some guys have snuck in on different programs here and there as sort of like a cameo or guest spot every now and then. But it's primarily women producing it, women putting the shows up there, and of course their podcast, their main podcast, Late Night with Bisexuals. Go and check that out. It is awesome. And of course, like all podcasts, it's great to have when you're going down the highway, if you're like me and you're on the road a lot. So yeah, that is where I am on that one. Again, if you want, Circle Plus, they don't I do want to put this out there. They don't pay for anything on this. I do Circle Plus out of the goodness of my heart, and because I believe in the site that much. Before somebody's like, wait, you guys support them? No, I do it for free. But yeah, otherwise, pit $15 a month over on patreon.com/Gomer21XX. You can help support these and get me to a point to where I don't necessarily have to go on the road, and scheduling will be a lot easier again. So that is it for that is my stuff, rambling there. Erin, do you have any kind of shout outs or anything?
Not this week, no.
All right. Kat?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So wow, we are light on the shout outs this week.
That's okay. You rambled enough for three of us.
Yes, I did. This is what
Trust
happens.
me, I was this close to just yelling, "Get on with it!"
I know, right? I could kind of feel it, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh god. But this is what happens when I go like a month without it. So before we hit to the news stories proper, I do kind of want to touch on some of the bigger things that's been going on over the past month, because I half dread it, but I feel like I need to say something about it. The whole presidential election, the debates, the debacle that is the presidential election. By the time this show goes up, I should have already early voted, or at the very least be in line for it. Because I've got a lot of stuff to take care of, Monday morning, and I'll take care of my voting then as well. But by the time you guys hear this, by the time it's live, rather, patrons will obviously hear it a little early. But by the time everybody else hears it live, I'll have already voted. Erin, I think you said you've already cast your early vote.
I have voted. Mine was picked up 2 weeks ago, and as a result, I no longer give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Don't ask me my opinion on Hillary. Don't ask me my opinion on Trump. I don't care anymore. I have done my civic duty. I am finished. Thank you, and good night.
Yes. And Kat, do they have early voting where you live, or?
I think they do. I'm actually not going to early vote. I'm actually using personal time off of work to take the entire day off of work so I can go, because my polling place is really far away from where I work, just due to the fact that I never updated my address. So it's like 40 minutes away from where I work, so I have to drive pretty far, and then I wouldn't be able to just do that on my lunch break or even after work.
Right.
So I decided I'm just going to take the whole day off work, and I'm going to go get my little I voted sticker, and then I'm going to hit up every place that does something for free if you voted.
There you go. I wonder if we have places like that around here.
I remember Starbucks used to give you a free cup of regular coffee. But I don't remember who else does stuff. So I've got to look into it and figure out what I can hit up and get free stuff.
Yeah. And who knows, there might be some local places around here that might do that as well. But yeah. But so I mentioned that at least two of us, by the time this goes live for everybody, have already voted. So, we don't have a, you don't have to convince us for anything. We already know, we've already voted. And the reason why I want to bring up some of this stuff is just kind of get it out there, say, yes, we know about it. And if you didn't know about it, well, now you do. Again, the debates where Donald Trump, he's basically what it's like if you have a sex predator running for president, it seems like. He's basically
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's basically all he's ever been through this whole election.
Yeah.
A loudmouth jackass who loves the sound of his own voice and pretty much can't let anyone get a word in edgewise. Like me.
I was gonna take it and say myself as well, but although I think the difference between the two of us and Donald Trump is we don't grope women when they don't want us to.
This is true.
Yeah. So he's doing all of his horrible shit, and it's all coming out, and of course, all the controversial stuff. I think it was during the I want to say it was the second or third debate where he said if he wins, he would have Hillary put in jail. Or not jail, but prison, because of stuff that supposedly has happened because of emails and everything. And I will admit, I am kind of tired of hearing about the emails. It's okay, if something was going to happen, it would have already happened. It's kind of just no. and by the way, in terms of politics and stuff, if you want a good place to keep up on politics, the NPR Politics podcast. good way to do it. And of course, if you're still undecided at this point and you're still not sure, there's always ontheissues.org, which is always in the doobly-doo of these shows. And in fact, I'll even keep it in there beyond this election, because there are going to be other ones that we have to elect in, vote in as well, not elect in. Although I suppose electing in an election is kind of the idea. And then I've noticed, though, that in this election, nobody seems to like either of the main two candidates, even though they obviously have support. But it's like I told my mother earlier, it's kind of like choosing between being shot in the arm and shot in the face. And it's like, either way, you're going to get shot, but you're more likely to survive one of them than the other one. Probably a little bit over the top, but that's what it seems like to me.
What's made it interesting is that now we're seeing actual states that have always been staunchly one or the other become toss-up states. Utah's a toss-up state this election. Texas has become a toss-up state.
Yeah, that really...
Neither of that has happened in literally decades. Okay, Utah has not voted Republican in 50 years. It's always voted Republican for the last 50 years.
Right.
Okay? That's 1966 to now. It's amazing. And they've become a toss-up state. And here's the weird thing. Utahns, I've noticed, and I'm talking like hardcore conservatives here, are so disgusted. They really hate Trump. They hate Hillary even more. So it's entirely possible that this election, Utah might actually go independent.
Yeah, I've heard that. Well, there's one guy. Oh God, what is his name? I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately. But it's like one other guy, like some third party guy, would end up.
Gary Johnson was one of them, and then there was I think Gary Johnson's the Libertarian candidate, and then there's one other guy whose name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah. But I know it's not Gary Johnson, because I want to say, didn't he? I think he bowed out. I want to say it could have been another one, but
I don't know.
But yeah,
Evan McMullen, I think that was his name.
That's the name. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, who the hell is he? But yeah, definitely strange, and definitely a bit more of a circus show this time around. Just.
What do you expect when you elect a reality TV star to be president?
Yeah, yeah, we've been kind of rambling on about it. Kat, do you have any thoughts to add at this point?
I can't wait for it to be over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really can't wait for it to be over. It just needs to be over right now.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've screamed. I would hear something, again, I listened to the NPR Politics podcast, and every time they would bring up something that, say, Trump has done or something, and they play a clip, he would say something that is just so out there, I'd start screaming. Which, if you do that in the middle of Atlanta, they think you're screaming at traffic. Not a good thing. Oh. But yeah, it will be great once it's finally over. But with that, we're gonna leave off of that one. If there's anything that I know we didn't cover everything that's happened within the last month, it's kind of just a gloss over thing. If there is something you guys out there want us to touch upon, either next week or whenever, let us know, and we can see about it. It might not be till after the election, depending on scheduling and how our brains feel, but we'll touch on it.
And at that point, we'll be even more done with everything than we are now.
Yeah. But I do want to at least touch on things and at least let people know, yes, we do know about this. This is how we feel, and blah 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 blah. Because I would like to think our listeners do care about our opinions a little bit and want to know, and don't necessarily always keep track of us on social media. So, or whether they can or can't, it all depends. So yes, I want to try to aim to please.
Well, they wouldn't really hear. I don't tend to get political on social media, so
yeah,
this is really the only place I do get political.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, and the news this week, I tried to organize it from oh my god, what the fuck barbecue up to lighter oh my god, what the fuck barbecue, as in terms of what things are happening. So yeah, this first one, it actually happened like
This is going to be another episode where Kat and I leave the show thinking, "My God, does he do this just to torture us?"
I'm already there, so let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hopefully it'll bring us. Hopefully I'll have done it enough to where it'll bring us up to a better place. I hope. Fingers crossed. But this first one, this came out like the morning we're recording this, and it's just really kind of pissed me off, and I could speak to a little bit of it because, you'll see. A Chicago haunted house is being criticized for including depictions of the June massacre at Orlando's Pulse nightclub, where 49 LGBT people and allies were brutally murdered. And already people are probably starting to burn effigies. Because, goddammit, what the fuck? The Room, A Journey to Hell, is being billed as a Christian interactive experience with 12 rooms of action-packed, real and jaw-dropping terror.
Wait a minute. Hang on. The Room, A Journey to Hell. What? It's just you trapped in a room watching Tommy Wiseau endlessly on a loop? In all 12 rooms?
You know what? That would make it a lot better. That would.
Probably.
Oh, man. Oh, and I knew somebody had to make that reference. I'm glad somebody caught it before I did. Mine would have been worse. Not dark or worse, just it would have failed. Hell houses are popular with evangelical Christians during Halloween, spooky attractions filled with the horrors, quote-unquote horrors, of modern life, teen sex, drinking, homosexuality, and their infernal consequences. Tyrone Tapler Productions, which organized The Room, put out a call on Facebook earlier this year for volunteers willing to recreate the Pulse shooting. Club Pulse dancers, victims, caged people / screamers, that's in all caps by the way, extras needed trying to escape a cage. Sounds interesting? Come out this Saturday! Other scenarios described in the promotional material included a botched abortion and the 2015 shooting at a church in Charleston, South Carolina. The Room was originally slated to run October 29th and 30th at Fernwood Elementary School on the far south side, but a rep for the Chicago public school system now says it's pulled the plug. Is it like constitutional for them to be able to do this at an elementary school? This is a more religious themed horror experience. You know, and I don't know if it's and it's at a public school.
It's one of those things where I believe, let me see, who organized this? Yeah, here's the thing. It's not, while it may be an evangelical Christian hell house, the actual people putting it on are an independent thing. Tyrone Tapler Productions, which they will probably be the first to tell you is not a church.
Okay. So okay, that was.
It's in a gray area, but it's not. It's it's very much questionable. It's very much in bad taste, but it is not unconstitutional.
Okay, yeah, that was one of the first things to pop up. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so the event organizers mischaracterized the true content of the event, and we did not prove any association with the activities the organizers have now advertised. Spokesman Michael Passman told local news. One reader told them after finding a flyer for the event that read reference Pulse, my head just about blew up. How could they depict that? They added, what really bothered me was that this was in a public school supported by our tax dollars. Well, apparently they don't like that idea, regardless of constitutionality. And by the time I got this, they did put an update. Tyrone Tapler posted on Facebook that the event had been, quote-unquote, banned, promising refunds to ticket holders. So there's like a small point in his favor. He's not taking the money and running, thankfully. Small point, but these hell houses, I've heard about them since, they've probably been around for quite a long time, but I remember hearing about them when I was in like high school, middle school. Never went to one personally because, haunted houses in general don't always appeal to me. I have to be like with certain people or in a certain mood, and that's not usually a thing. Again, horror is not my usual thing, but I've heard enough about these hell houses. It's like, you're going in and they're basically just trying to, scare you into Jesus, basically. It's basically what it is, and they use Halloween to do it, which I'm not a fan of. And I mean, if it was just, horrors, like, because there's plenty of horror stuff in the Bible that you can use without having to proselytize with it, and if it was just that, I probably would have less of a problem with it, personally. I mean, you're using your own money, you're spending your own money, you do what you're going to do, that's fine. As long as you're not, whatever. Some people like it, some people don't, But as for me, yeah, not a thing. So, Kat, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, at least they pulled the plug on it and said, you know what, we're fucked up, but we're not that fucked up.
Yeah.
Because once you get religion in there, we're pretty cynical, and we think there's no lengths to which they will not stoop to scare you into the church. But, the fact that they said, okay, yeah, this is where we draw the line, that's a good sign to me. I mean, in a bad situation, I guess there's some little silver lining.
Yeah. Even everyone has standards. I would say evil, but maybe evil. It depends on your point of view. I'll say everyone because, let's be safe. Unlike them, they're not playing safe. But to keep on with schools, though, a Rouse High School student stabbed his teacher 3 times in the hand with a knife used for art class, causing wounds that sent her to the hospital, according to an arrest affidavit. Ryland Alexander Gonzalez, 17, was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against a public servant, a first-degree felony punishable by up to 99 years in prison. They're not fucking around. The art class teacher required 10 stitches after the attack Thursday and was told to contact a hand surgeon for possible ligament damage, the affidavit said. The Leander School District had no comment Monday about the incident because it is under investigation by the police, said Veronica Sofer, a district spokeswoman. Leander police filed a first-degree felony charge because that is what the district attorney's office, I can read, has told officers to do whenever a student is involved in an aggravated assault against a teacher, said Lieutenant Jackson Mitchell. So they're following protocol. The affidavit said a police officer arrived at the school in Leander at 3:53 p.m. Thursday after being notified about the incident and found the teacher in the school nurse's office with 2 large lacerations to her right middle finger and 1 smaller laceration to her right index finger. Ow. The teacher, according to the document, said Gonzalez was a student in her art class Thursday. She saw him with an X-Acto knife stabbing a styrofoam dinosaur in her classroom. Well, at least he started okay. Knife, often used for art projects, looks like a pen with a razor blade at its end. Thanks for telling us. I know not everybody knows what an X-Acto knife looks like. So, the teacher said she told Gonzalez to give her the knife, but instead he turned and faced her with the knife in his hand, the affidavit said. It said she grabbed the knife by the handle, but he yanked it away and quickly slashed at her hand 3 times. She immediately began to bleed heavily and ended up going to a hospital. The officer tried to find Gonzalez at the school Thursday, but he had already gone home. The teacher told police Friday that she wanted to press charges against Gonzalez. Said when Gonzalez returned to school Friday, he told authorities different stories about what happened. He first said he had permission to use the knife and that the teacher had reached for it while he was using it and had accidentally sliced her with it. He then changed his story, said he didn't have permission to use the knife, refused to hand it over after the teacher asked for it, and then when she reached for it, he pulled away but was just playing around. And then when he asked the teacher how the teacher received 3 separate and distinct deep lacerations on her fingers, Gonzalez said he didn't know, but that she may have sliced her finger as he pulled it away. Cuts on the teacher's fingers were deep puncture wounds that are not consistent with a clean slice, as the defendant described. He's out on bail, and this is the whole reason why I put this in here. This is horrible. This student is throw the book at him because you did a horrible thing. I don't know about 99 years, but you should do some time for that one. Get some help. But this right here, the Leander School District is not changing its policy on allowing students to use the art project knives because of the incident, because the state allows the tools and students are instructed on how to use them safely, Sofer said. So, kid does something fucked up, puts a teacher in the hospital. What they do, they deal with the student, and everybody else gets to keep, quote-unquote, playing with the knives, so to speak. So, this is a school not overreacting and taking it away from everybody. This school is a good example of what to do when some bullshit like this happens.
My God.
Yes. And oh wow. So So I have a bit of a side note, but I want to get you guys' thoughts. Erin, where do you stand on this? What are your thoughts?
I'm fine. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right. Kat?
It is such a rarity that the school actually handles the situation correctly. I thought you were you were getting ready to go off on them not banning the knives, and I'm like, oh, that would be really uncharacteristic of Gomer. And then you were like, they handled it correctly. I'm like, yes, they did. That's amazing. That's never happened before.
Why do you sound so angry about it?
Well, okay, the sounding angry, that was definitely not intentional. I guess I use that voice more for anger than I do for anything else. Who knew? But there is.
So it's pretty spectacular that here's a school who finally handled a case correctly, and honestly, this kid sounds like the start of some sort of sociopath. So I do hope that that he gets some help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's hope he gets the help he needs. Hopefully the teacher will be okay, can use her hand again, like she needs to. Oh, and like I said, I do have a small tangent that this kind of sets off as well. I got back home, and this kind of goes into a Pokemon Go thing, and I got back home, and usually my mailbox would be a Pokestop. Usually, I come home, it's suddenly a Pokemon gym, and it's like, okay, what the hell? So my dad, bear in mind, my dad is on the city council. He's the city commissioner or mayor, depending on the year. We have a weird city government. And he's mentioned that the city is looking at taking out all of the, a lot of the Pokestops, especially like at the post office or public areas or whatever. And the stated reason that I keep hearing around is because of one asshole who is going around and apparently being some kind of a dick. So instead of going after this guy and dealing with him, for maybe trespassing or maybe doing other things that he's not supposed to be doing in the context of playing Pokemon Go, they're just taking it away from everybody. Bear in mind, we are still a college town, and yes, even students at the Baptist College would be playing Pokemon Go. They're not that much in a bubble. That's got to upset some people too. So it's just, what the fuck? And of course, our mailbox is a gym, and gyms in Pokemon Go, they're not just, tag it and go. You have to stand there for at least a minute or two if you want to try and take it over. So that makes it weird for us, because then we'd have like a group of people outside like, what are they doing? Oh god, the gym, that's right, fuck. That's how you don't handle a thing like that. This school, good. My town, I don't think my dad's happy with it either, but but all because of one guy. Yeah, my tangent's done. So we'll keep with the schools for a little bit longer. This one over in Bloomington, Indiana. Fun fact, the Jeff Foxworthy show took place in Bloomington, Indiana. Students at Bloomington North High School are banned from wearing anything that depicts a Confederate flag on campus. Yes, another one of those. Leaders with the school district implemented the ban Wednesday night after students wore the flag draped around their shoulders like a cape. Students argued that they were exercising their First Amendment rights, but Principal Jeffrey M. Henderson said the decision to wear the flag caused too much disruption given the flag's place in U.S. history. Throughout the day, the issue has evolved into one that has created substantial disruption to the educational environment. As a result, students may no longer wear or display images of the Confederate flag on their clothing or any personal item while at school or a school-sponsored event or function due to the disruption it has created. Which, I pretty much am more on board with that. Because, yeah, that is a big thing. And it would be, I might consider a little bit more prudent, if it's causing that much of a disruption. Like, yeah, tone it back, And that goes with pretty much anything. At least at this point. There are probably going to be some exceptions that somebody may point out to me later. But, at this point, yeah. Students may have worn the Confederate flag in response to an LGBT event held at the school last week. A student who spoke to local news said there's been tension over a gay pride flag flown in the library and a teacher's room. I want to either, Destiny Sherfield said, I want to either have both flags banned or both flags brought back so it's equality. I just want equality for everyone and to just be able to express ourselves the way we'd like to express ourselves. Anderson, the principal, said the flags caused several students to feel unsafe at school. Balancing the First Amendment rights of all individuals and a democracy can be a challenging task. Doing that with teenagers can prove to be even more challenging, he wrote. So, all right. I guess the big question is the school in the right? I my own personal thing, if it's causing that much of a disruption, maybe tone it down a bit, pull it back, because you are kind of there to learn a little bit more. You know, don't like fully get rid of your individuality. I'm not saying school uniforms, but if it's causing that much of a disruption and you're just trying to go about your life and everybody else is trying to go about their life, maybe tone it back, maybe wait for after school or whatever. But, you know, if it's not, you know, if it's more harm than good, I would personally say hold it back. As far as the school rules, if they're the school, they can dress code however they want, whether we agree with it or not. And if they want to make that part of the dress code, because let's face it, the Confederate flag is known as a symbol of, you know, where it was in U.S. history. A bunch of slave owners decided, hey, we're going to drag everybody in our part of the country into a war because we want to keep slaves. Basically, that's what it boils down to. And I know some people will be like, oh, states' rights, but you know, whatever. And I can see where all of that comes from. Kat, do you have any thoughts?
This is tricky because it's true. You do have this amendment right to go out and express yourself in the form of your clothing. But seriously, somebody flying a pride flag versus flying a Confederate flag, to me, that's kind of different. Mm-hmm. People saying that they feel unsafe because of the Confederate flag is different than people feeling unsafe because of a pride flag. If you feel unsafe because somebody is flying a pride flag, that's on you. That's homophobia. If somebody feels unsafe because it's a Confederate flag, that's because of lynchings and slavery and murder and a bunch of other stuff that it is really quite a bit more believable that you'd be afraid. Like, I tell this story a lot, but we seriously had a guy who lived up the street from me when I lived back in Baltimore, and every time a house went for sale up on the block, he'd put up a Confederate flag to keep black people from buying the house because he didn't want black people on our street. Like, seriously. There's a whole different level of what it means to fly different flags. But if it's causing enough of a disruption, then yeah, the school is well within its right to say none of this. Absolutely none of this. This is not what you guys are here for.
Yeah. Erin, any thoughts?
As I've mentioned, I have now officially hit middle age. And I have found that around about the time you hit your late 30s, you just get disgusted in general with everybody on the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Which may not exactly be the right words I want to use, but I can't think of the right one right now.
Right.
If it were me running this school, I would say, okay, that's it. If you have any situation that is politically charged, it's off campus. I don't care anymore. I am no longer concerned with being seen as a good person on the political spectrum. Good person, capital letters, put a little TM in the corner. This has always been one of my biggest problems with, what do I want to call it? Because I'm really trying to stay away from the term social justice warrior. I don't want to use that. Yeah. Campaigning for a cause, shall we say.
Okay.
All right. I am more now. The school can do what it wants. Kat was right on this, and I agree for the most part with everything Kat said. Mm-hmm. It just seems to me so much these days in these campaigns for causes are less about making the actual change the cause is allegedly about and more about people trying to feel good about themselves for doing it. And it doesn't matter where on the spectrum you fall.
Right.
whether you want to scream about free speech, whether you want to talk about gay rights, transgender rights, whatever. It's, of late, it just seems more like I need to demonstrate that I'm a good person, because in this country, for some reason, we always have to have a bad guy so we can make ourselves out to be the good guy. And life doesn't work like that. There's nuance, there's subtlety. That's why things like this are extremely tricky. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, like I said, my big thing here is that if I were in charge, I would have just, as the school, I would have just said, that's it. I don't care. That's it. If it's any sort of politically charged thing, it's out. That's just what I would do. Yeah. Would people be pissy about it? Yeah, but they're there to learn. There's plenty of time to get involved in activism and politics and whatnot when you get to college. That's where that shit should start, in my opinion. Because until you are out on your own, as much as teenagers like to think otherwise, I know I certainly thought this when I was a teenager, mm-hmm. You do not know shit about shit yet. You don't know the real world. You don't know how it works. I would even argue that you really don't know anything about the real world until you're out of college. But college is, in my opinion, where those things, where you get a little more information, you get a little more ideas of nuance and how the world works.
Yeah.
The person who argued that the Confederate flag needs to go up in response to the gay pride flag because equality, no. I'd rather go with their first option, says they said they would either rather see them both banned or see them both there. And frankly, given those options, I would be like, yeah, get rid of them both.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that makes me unpopular. I'm very pro gay rights and pro transgender rights and everything, but there just comes a point where how much of it is actually doing anything for the cause and how much of it is just people trying to prove to everyone else that they're a good person.
Yeah. And, banning them both all together, definitely certainly a good way to do it. I say good way to do it. Valid way of doing it. Whether it's good or not is in the eye of the beholder, obviously. Right. And I can see that. But at the end of the day,
mostly I'm just tired.
Yeah. I don't blame you in the least, man. I don't. So hopefully this will be considerably. This next story should be comparatively lighter. Out of Menasha, Wisconsin, because we've been hearing. I don't know. You guys been hearing about like all the clowns that are supposed to be going around and scaring people and shit?
Yeah, it's kind of impossible not to know about it.
Yeah. When the hell did this become a thing? This has been going off and on for the last few years, I've noticed.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Insert Isle of Rangoon reference here. I am not smart enough to make it at the moment, apparently. But I am smart enough to read the story. 2 parents have been arrested on charges they left their 4-year-old child at home so they could allegedly terrorize the neighborhood while dressed as clowns. Rule number 1. If you're going to do this is one of those things you shouldn't do, but if you're going to, don't, here's how you do it. You shouldn't go around terrorizing people while dressed as a clown, but if you're going to, make sure your child is not left at home by themselves, because that would be neglect. And if you're just out there to troll people, that kind of, just no. Police in Menasha say several people donning clown costumes were seen chasing cars in the early morning hours last Friday. Dashboard camera of a patrol vehicle caught a 29-year-old man and a 20-year-old man donning clown costumes on Appleton Road. A 29-year-old man and a 26-year-old woman who drove them were arrested on child neglect charges after learning they left a 4-year-old child home alone for several hours, according to local news. The 20-year-old man, however, will not face any charges. Well, because he isn't guilty of, he didn't have a child that he just left at home. A 4-year-old. Again, don't do that. I mean, you want to take part in this Clownpocalypse or whatever, fine, as long as all you're doing is just scaring the shit out of people. A good scare, maybe a few laughs, maybe somebody throws a ball at you or something, hits you in the face, whatever. you put a Band-Aid on it, you go home, you have a good laugh because you got a good reaction. Fine, whatever. But if you have a kid, make sure they're taken care of first. At the very least, hire a babysitter. At the very least. Kat?
Christ, where to even begin with this? To assume that your child is going to be okay left home alone is the hallmark of a bad parent. Somebody who should not be a parent at all, period. I'd like to say, kids these days, but honestly, they're not much younger than me, and they're old enough to know better. Mm-hmm. So it's just idiots. I don't know why people think it's funny to dress up like clowns and go around scaring people, but they're fucking idiots because somebody's going to shoot these people. And I'm not going to have a whole lot of sympathy for somebody who decided that they'd much rather go out in the middle of the night, leave their child home alone, dress up like clowns, and harass people. Not going to have a whole lot of sympathy if somebody shoots these idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, we are in America. We are gun happy. That is another danger. And rule number 2, if you're going to do this, bulletproof vest. Doesn't help if they decide to shoot you in the face, but it's better than no protection at all.
We live in this world where I think everybody just wants to become an internet sensation and wants their life to go viral for one reason or another. And I think these clown sightings are just part of that, of people wanting to get famous and to be cool. And I don't know, it's so weird. Why clowns? Like,
yeah, I don't get the clowns either. I mean, but obviously it's been making the rounds. Clowns like this, clown sightings and clown scarings like this have been making the rounds. I got in and the kids were sitting there talking like, yeah, we heard about these clowns at school and everything, and somebody was saying like they're supposed to go out tonight and just scare people, terrorize them a little bit here and there, and it's like, really? Is this the best they're gonna do? I mean, I know it's Halloween, it's the season for being spooky and scary, but come on.
No, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And the more we pay attention to it, the more people are going to do it. As soon as we stop making it a sensational headline, people will stop. Because I really think that's all this is people just want attention. And here they can go around and be assholes and be anonymous about it, but still get that attention that they so clearly desire. And it's really stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody who wants to have attention like this, start a podcast. There you go. You'll have the same. You'll probably have the same likelihood of success in having attention drawn to you. Just saying, and it's more legal. You're not scaring as many people unless you're a horror podcast. Then you might be scaring people, but that's the kind of scaring that people actually want to listen to. Erin, do you have any thoughts?
Yep, I was right. I have now lost all faith in humanity, and if I ever meet you, Gomer, I'm going to punch you right in the face.
Okay, I'll make sure to wear my contacts.
My faith in humanity.
I will make sure I wear my contacts that day. Yeah. Now, if we ever do a video crossover, that is got to be how you greet me. That's just right there. Boom. Oh, the next one. Next one up. This one was actually sent in, so I put it in, and it's a bit of what the fuckery, but at the end they're trying to do good. So, Apple refused to refund a father of 2 for a purchase of an iPhone unless the man could prove he was not deceased Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. Sharakat Hussein is spelled differently, 26, was dismayed upon receiving an email from the California-based technology giant claiming that he was on the government's denied parties list, which made it illegal for him to be sold an iPhone, according to a report in the Daily Mail. Hussein, with an A resident of Birmingham, England, by the way, not Alabama, who works as a driver, reportedly bought the device for his sister, but tried to get his money back when she rejected the gift. He paid $799. I think that's
pounds.
Pounds, yeah. I get that and the euro mixed up a little bit every now and then. But
The euro looks easy enough. The euro looks like an E.
okay, I do need to remember this. But in American dollars comes out to $972. Due to the high cost of the model he purchased, Hussein was told he would receive his money via bank transfer. That's simple enough. But after waiting several weeks and not receiving a refund, Hussein, again with an A, received an email from Apple in which he was asked to supply proof that he was not in fact the late dictator who was hanged in an Iraqi army base in 2006. 10 years! You would think Apple would understand this. Or at least somebody at Apple. Apparently, whoever was doing this did not get the idea, did not remember the memo, and not even looked at the guy's fucking first name, but, while the customer's first name is different and his surname is also spelled differently, Apple staff still managed to confuse the Birmingham resident with a deposed tyrant. Hussein told the Sun newspaper that he thought the email was spam. I was stunned to learn it was real. I was furious to be linked to Saddam. As you should be. Apple on Friday vowed to expedite the refund. Spokeswoman offered the company's sincerest apologies to Mr. Hussein. So, at least at the end, Apple is trying to do the right thing. Hopefully, the staff members that caused this confusion, I hope they're getting sacked, or at the very least put somewhere else where they can't pull shit like this, or at the very least given a basic lesson in history and reading comprehension. At the very least. Erin, we're gonna start with you on this one. What are your thoughts on this?
This is just dumb.
Yeah.
This is just completely dumb, and I say this as a person who's had a similar job. It's just like, read, people. That's all you have to do is read and know shit that happened within the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, for God's sake, really? This is where we are now?
Yeah. Just, Kat?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that this level of stupidity still exists in the world, but here we are. Hooray.
Yeah. Oh. So, speaking of stupidity, we have frivolous lawsuits. They happen. They seem to be a way of life in America. I have yet to cash mine in, but I don't think I'm ever going to, because I'm not like this particular person. A New Jersey celebrity stylist who allegedly scraped a model's neck during a public haircutting demonstration earlier this year is being sued for $5 million. Michelle Kalinkina says Martino Cartier was careless, negligent, and reckless by cutting her hair too fast at the Jacob Javits Convention Center on March 7th, according to a lawsuit filed in federal court in Manhattan on Wednesday. Yeah, this was a public haircutting demonstration. I would imagine maybe speed might be a little bit of a factor. Who knows? I don't have all the details on that. But even still, even before going on to the rest of the story, I don't get my hair cut very often. Like right now I've got hair that's kind of down my shoulders. I need to get a haircut. But even every now and then, mistakes happen. And they're not trying to be negligent or reckless or even careless, really. It's just things happen. They've also got other clients to deal with too. So, yeah, speed is a bit of a factor in getting to other clients that may be waiting. If there's nobody else waiting, then they can take their time and you get lucky. But even then, it happens every now and then, And sometimes they're worse than others because maybe they're just having an off day, or maybe, or maybe they're inexperienced. And it's like, okay, they're still learning and inexperience being an intern or what have you. I don't know if it happens that much with stylists, especially working with celebrities, but somebody's got to start somewhere, I would imagine. But accidents happen. Kalinkina says the stylist scissors cut her neck and left her with a scar. The mishap also caused the 23-year-old pain, shock, and mental anguish, court papers say. Cartier, whose website says he's done work at the Golden Globe Awards and in Vogue magazine, has salon in Sewell and Cherry Hill. Well, there goes my idea about the being an amateur. But still, the one person out of again Golden Globes and in Vogue, I would imagine he's done probably thousands of hairstyles, for women and men. And, and he's probably as careful as can be. Even the best people can screw up sometimes. It happens. And, it's a bit of a pain. You get a bit of a scar on the back of your neck if it's done wrong. Because, again, accidents can happen. We don't know all the details on that one, but I think suing for $5 million is a bit much. I think.
I kind of have to disagree a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Yes, accidents happen, but this is a guy who is, done as a celebrity stylist, and that's fine. Accidents happen. Happens to the best of us, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, though. The person in question is a model.
Right.
A 23-year-old model. Lest we forget, modeling is a highly intensive, cutthroat world where the slightest imperfection can affect your earning potential. Yes, you can make a shit ton of money.
Your cutthroat reference.
Yeah.
Cutthroat? Good.
Oh.
Completely unintentional, I assure you, but it is, in fact, the best adjective here. Anyway, the problem is that, as I said, it's very competitive, and the slightest flaw can affect your earning potential. And yes, you can make a ton of money as a model, but let's not forget that here's the thing. She is 23. In the modeling world, as I understand it, your career is pretty much over by the time you hit 25, whether you want to or not. You're just too old for the business. That's when you start getting passed over because they think you don't look young enough for it.
Yeah.
So reaction is not entirely, doesn't seem as much of an ego to me as anything else. Is it excessive? Yeah, $5 million, and using the phrase pain, shock, and mental anguish is probably a little overdramatic.
Right.
But when you're in that kind of business, you're very, very high-strung. So,
yeah.
Again, this falls once again into the category of weird but understandable.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I can see that. I don't normally think of the modeling world because every time I try to think of it, I think of modeling, and that leads to all the societal pressures, that societal bullshit that's put onto women, and then my brain starts imploding and I start ranting. Even if it's just in the truck and I'm ranting to the windshield. So that's where my brain was at that point. So I see where you're coming from there. And I gotta say I can agree with that. Yeah. Although what would help, and it would take a lot of time, is if the modeling world and society in general will change that. But that's going to take a while. So we'll have baby steps. Kat, do you have anything to add?
I'd be curious if she was actually popular enough to potentially earn $5 million over the next several years.
Yeah. I'll concede that.
Yeah.
Because she could be a model and maybe somewhat famous, but $5 million, that's a lot of money. So it just makes me wonder, is she popular enough? Does she work enough? Because it says she's freelance, so it's not like she's with an agency or anything like that where she's guaranteed gigs and stuff like that. So I wonder, truly, yes, there is a huge potential to harm her financial earnings by having a scar of which we are not told the size of or anything like that, and scars will eventually fade.
Yeah.
What?
Or the location.
Right.
Yeah.
So we know she got nicked on the neck, but we don't know how big the nick was or how... If it's going to completely scar over, or if that scar is going to fade in a couple weeks, as many scars do. $5 million, if that's like a little scratch or something, and it's so harmful to her career, I don't know how I feel about this. I'd want to see the scar. I'd want to know what kind of modeling she does. I'd want more information before I pass full judgment.
Yeah, and something that I didn't even think about when we were going over this initially, but depending on where it is on her neck, it could potentially, easily be covered by her hair too, which, might be a good thing. I don't know how short they were cutting her hair, so.
Well, even then, like, when you're modeling, you might be doing all kinds of different hair that'll leave your neck exposed. But if it's like a tiny little nick on like the back of your neck, nobody's going to notice it. But if it's like a huge scar down, like it looks like she got ravaged by a vampire, that's a different story to me.
Right. So yeah, I think we all had good points and all that. Yeah. Real quick, we are running low on time. I kind of want to just gloss over the last story we got here. Out of West Virginia, a woman is facing multiple counts of false reporting after troopers say she called 911 hundreds of times in a month because of course she does, and of course my timer is a little louder, even though my timer is supposed to be on vibe, but that's okay.
Get on with it.
Yes. Okay. Called 911 hundreds of times in a month, and with incidents called in such as like medical emergencies, fires, stabbings, shootings, hang-up calls, various other incidents. And where is that line? Okay. And according to the criminal complaint, the lady, Cassandra Friedley, her voice often seemed to reflect that she enjoyed the willful waste of resources she was imposing on the county. I know it's West Virginia. I know there's not a lot to do out there. There's a lot of rural areas, and such. But, we have books. Books are a thing. I know they have the internet out there. Because, I've been out there long enough to be able to do it. And even in the mountains, you can get a signal on like a smartphone or something, if you get that. Or even that. I'm pretty sure you live in a populated enough area. Probably a library. It's probably other people. Go out somewhere. Do something else to pass your time than wasting the goddamn 911 operator's time. Just saying. Real quick, do either of you have thoughts on this?
No, not at all.
No, jackass, let her rot in jail.
There we go. So, all right, that is it for this week. Oh, so I tried my best to try and start low and end up high. Maybe however high we got is debatable. But yeah, hopefully I will do a little bit better in having more uplift, more higher stuff, at least towards the end of the show next week, depending on what happens in the news and all of that. So yeah, by the time this episode will air actually on Halloween, if you're out and about or whatever, if you're out and about at 7:00 Central Time on Halloween and you're listening to this, have fun, be safe, and if you're watchers of What the Fuck Is Wrong with You, enjoy the Halloween festivities that Nash puts on every year.
Enjoy Hookerween.
Thank you. I couldn't remember what the name of it was. Thank you. Yes, enjoy Hookerween. I'm actually going to be able to make it this year, so I will be watching. I may not be in the chat, but I'll be watching. So yes. With that, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Erin, if we wanted to find you on the social medias, where could we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Shallow15. That's SHALLOW15. Or you can find my videos on YouTube, youtube.com/DubiousKhan, DubiousKhan. I just put up the newest episode of Politrix, a political satire. Everybody seems to enjoy it, so please go give that a listen. We are working on improving the quality of some of the sound. We've had some issues, but we think we've got them ironed out. Episode 3 should be coming very soon. I also have a Tumblr, which is updated whenever the hell I feel like it. Notes from the idiotbox.tumblr.com, and of course you can find all my stuff on rtgomer.com.
Yay! And Kat, if we wanted to find you on the social media, where could we find you?
You can hit me up on Twitter at LabyrinthCat and Facebook.com/NerdistCat. And if you want to check out my other podcasts, I do What the Fuck over on 1201beyond.com. And my other show is Nerd to the Third Power, which is over on YouTube and iTunes and This Week in Geek. And if you want to actually see me as a person and not a disembodied voice, I do a video series called Your Favorite Anime Rocks. Our group is called the Positive Service Announcement Team, and you can hit us up on Facebook and on YouTube.
Sweet. And if you wanted to find me on the social medias, you can find me on the Twitters, Tumblrs, YouTubes, a lot of different places on the web at Gomer21XX. That's GOMER21XX. I've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/GomerRantingThespian. And of course, like I mentioned, there's the Patreon, patreon.com/Gomer21XX. You know, a little bit of support goes a long way. Trust me. And again, if you throw enough, you'll get the advertising bits and all the videos and the podcasts and everything that I do, which, hey, it's awesome. So again, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody. And until next time, this is Gomer, the Ranting Thespian, with Erin Mills, aka DubiousKhan, and the cat, signing off.
Thespian Talk is an RT Gomer Productions presentation. Our show's theme is Kick Shock by Kevin MacLeod. Find out more at incompetech.com. If you like this show and want to help support future episodes, head over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX. For a contribution as little as $1 per production, you can get early access to all future productions, as well as monthly Patreon-only vlogs and announcements. Our show's artwork was produced by the talented Becky Hopkins, who can be commissioned by going to patreon.com/BeckyHop. Check us out on iTunes or visit rtgomer.com for more great shows.